Hi and welcome back everyone to another video of I've Read Byzantine. My name is Quib and today we're changing a bit of pace because we're talking about two books which at first view aren't related to the Byzantine Empire, but I assure you I will just talk about to the Byzantine Empire. So just before we start, a little tangent. Funnily enough, I've been reading a bit of the manga about the Byzantine Empire by I don't remember her name specifically, but I'll put it on the screen. I'm just saying this like at the start of recording. I'm sorry, I mean it's not it's not prepared, but I went to check and we're at chapter 33 right now, and it's kind of saddening me reading this because I remember first time reading the Alexiad and kind of being surprised that the emperor dies from gouts. And that's how I remember it, right? Surprised and sad. I think it's mostly because I thought he would live through a bunch, but when he dies, you know. And reading the manga, it's already there, you know. The author is talking about by putting out that Alexios is suffering right now from it, and he has to slow down his campaign and everything, and it's kind of making me sad again. So yeah, I live to see another time that the emperor is dead. By the way, nice manga if you want to go check it. I know manga is cringe, but you know it's kind of fun. Me, everything that's Byzantine, I do. Fun fact also, I got this new game from Levian campaign, I think. I put a picture there, but really nice actually. Like I said, everything about Byzantine, it's really good. Go check it out if you want to learn about it and if you're interested in this. But yeah, back to the books, right? We're here for the books. So the two books for today is Normand in the South, 1016 to 1130, and the Kingdom in the Sun, 1130 to 1194. So yeah, both books made by the author John Julius Nowich, and really good. So as usual on Amazon, and I'm always using, just mentioning it, Amazon.ca, because you know I'm Canadian, but both are value, interestingly enough, 32 and 70 Canadian dollars, which is about $24 in USD. I will say right now, and very seriously, it is really a good price to buy it at. I strongly advise that even though you're into Byzantine or stuff like that, if you're looking at some other subject that nobody touches greatly upon, except this video of Kings in General, which is really good also, but I suggest that you go buy it just for, like, you know, the fun of it. Good history. I'll talk about it a bit more, but like maybe not as accurate as we want it to be, but it's really good. It's fun, and it still talks about the Byzantine, and you can see some things which I will talk about too later on. So yeah, really good price. I advise buying it. It's good. So the two books are the recounting of the history of the Normans when they came in Italy, from their arrival in the peninsula to the inheritance of the Kingdom of Sicily by the Hohenstaufens, them when they kind of lost their power. So basically from the Melfi era, where Melfi was the capital, to Palermo being taken by the Hohenstein at the end of the day. Hohenstaufen, sorry. And really good history. So that's pretty much what I'm gonna tell about the Normans. Go read it if you're more interested. I will say though that John Julius Norwich is a really good writer, and it's really interesting to read him. It's never boring. It is very good. I read it during some part of my vacation last summer, which my family was like, "What are you doing reading?" It was just that good. So you know, I read it, and also, there's this kind of I think John George which I have some quotes here, is seen as not as accurate as it could be about the Byzantine, and having a bit of an opinion. So, example, you have Warren Treadgold who said John George Norwich Byzantiums. I didn't read the book about the Byzantine Empire he wrote. I only read the Sicily's one, so don't mind me. But is an uncritical completion of largely obsolete work, which, however, makes no claim to academic scholarship. It kind of points to a little point I would want to make right now, which I'll probably make later on, because I read online and people like criticize him. I want to say, when you read a book about history, and I've been doing history since I'm 5 years old, right now I'm 24, there's a thing I kind of came out to understand, which is you're about accuracy is every author or every researcher, every historian who is doing something is never, especially about the past, not necessarily right now. Since the photos are like kind of compilation about, you can be sure about it. Like World War II, we're kind of sure about it, but even then, the Russians were not sure about 100% of what they're saying. So there's like discrepancy there. But the thing is, in my opinion, is you are never telling the truth in history, especially about the Middle Age. You're only telling a short-lived opinion. Okay, so for me, dwindling too much on this, especially since the point of the book is not being like super accurate recounting, it's more of a recounting of their entire story. It's not really useful, and I won't dwell on it any much longer because I don't think it's necessary. But so just so you're aware, it might not be as accurate, so don't take this book as like the latest knowledge about it. Take it more as a good understanding, and then you refine your knowledge later on. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. But that said, right, the writing is amazing. It sucks you in, and you cannot go back even though it's vacation time, and you need to do stuff with your family. No, you're just reading, bro. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And so now, the actual more Byzantine toward content that I'm gonna talk, it's right now. So first thing, there's mostly two things I want to talk about. The first thing is, it really surprised me the efficiency of the Byzantine state. How it comes out in the reading, even though we all kind of learned towards after Basil II and toward Manzikert, everybody is a bit shit. They are not doing well. The Byzantine state is kind of crumbling because of the will and the wish of the emperor and stuff like that, and they're kind of seen as a bit of buffling morons. I think that comes a lot from Michael Psellos' understanding of them. Because Michael Psellos is the most available sources about this era, maybe. The thing I kind of understood about this is really interesting, because if you go just search, was the Byzantine efficient during like leading up to the Manzikert era? So like, let's say from the start of this book, which is 1016 to, let's say, Manzikert, they will say logically, I went to it and they say no, the Byzantine were generally not effective at defending southern Italy from the Norman, losing their entire region between 1017 to 1071. Which is really interesting, okay? It really interests me because it's still 54 years. For a region that in the general understanding of history, and if you go see even Kings and Generals in some videos, they will say they didn't care too much about it. So it kind of like fit in that, which is like, oh no, they didn't care and they lost it. Nah, it took 54 years. And when you read this book, which again might not be as accurate as it could, but you see that the Byzantine tried and schemed and paid and bribed and did all kind of stuff to retake the island. They even invaded, I think, like 3 times. They got beaten, yes, but they still tried. And I kind of find it fascinating because it really shows into another maybe like understanding, even though again might not be as accurate as other one. It really shows that the Byzantine state still tried. It just, we see only the failures or the success. We don't see the trying. So when you read about the Byzantine Empire and you see, they failed to do that, they're so bad. No, it's not the failure that brought up that the fact that this guy is bad. It's more like, did he actually tried? Did he at least tried? And then when you see that he tried, example with Michael Palaiologos Doukas, that was a big try there. Yes, he failed, but this guy was like the best they could send, and he was actually really good to his job. So that the first point. Well, the first point is, it kind of shows me that the Byzantine, even though in the worst case scenario they had, like the fall and the personality that was trying to take them from all places, they still tried, which is really interesting to read, because there's so much stuff in history where people stop trying. And they don't accept, they just stop trying to some extent. So yeah, so that's interesting. Also, I just want to say, losing your entire region in 54 years is still way better of an outcome than my king dies, because when you read the story, when you read the book, the last Hauteville king dies, and then the Hohenstaufen, they take power legit, like maybe some months after, like maybe even shorter than that, because they just scoop the thing. So like in a really short amount of time, the Normans lose everything. The Byzantine took 54 years of trying and fighting and stuff like that. And yeah, you could maybe do an argument where like Bari failed and then they recaptured. I think they did that. But still, they still did try. And then the Normans, they lose everything. And it's really interesting on that sense. Second point, is when you read about the Kingdom of Sicily, J.Norwich, you may have some opinions there, which maybe went over my head. And now I'm thinking about it, and maybe it is that. But when I read it, he talks about how like the Normans, they accepted the Greek population, the Arabic population, the Lombard population, the Norman population, and all those stuff. And then they created this really good kingdom which could use every aspect of every people, every language, every diplomatic ways, and they could entangle themselves into a lot of things. Like the French king, even though he had the southern ports, he couldn't do shit in Africa because, well, he had no reason to. He had no like population of Arabic people who could have power and stuff like that, and then convince the North Africans. So like you know, but they still did. The Sicilians, they had power on like towards more of a Byzantine way, I would say, defending and politicking like the Byzantines. And they kept the power, and they were really they seem really powerful. They focus on the navy, which like damn, that's not something you see every day. I know it's an island and everything, but still they still did it because they had like the population to assimilate and deal with it. So yeah, it's really interesting. And you see like the Byzantine Commonwealth, they call it often that for like the culture and stuff like that, like when they converted the Russians and everything. The Byzantine converted the Russians to like the religion and kind of like their way of life to some extent. You see that too in Sicily, which is really interesting. It is truly interesting to see like from another perspective how the Byzantine influenced them. And if you go look at the cover page, you have art of Roger II, which he is dressed like a Byzantine, and I like that. You know, it's really interesting. I really like that. It showed you that the Byzantine culture dominated, and it was seen as really powerful by new arrivals. Like, yeah, maybe the French, they didn't care about it anymore because they were like, yeah, we know how it works. But still, you have the Normans comes in, and they're like, oh my god, what is this? It is so amazing. They're so powerful. They're so rich and stuff. So we're going to copy them because they probably have something right about everything they do. And then it creates a really interesting kingdom, the kingdom of the Sicily. So that's my two big takeaway from this. The Byzantine side of the story, because it's mostly focused on the Normans, but it is extremely interesting. I prefer learning about how it works, right? Like, you look at the Normans and you see they're influenced by the Byzantines, and you're like, what happened, you know? And then you learn about this, and you see that the Byzantine had this and that and that, and it's like, wow, that's amazing, you know? That's great understanding, and that's great to see and to understand ourselves and to themselves, because they're still human at the end of the day, those people. So yeah, so that's why if you watch my channel, I'm doing more videos right now. So I would say right now, I'm starting to get like an idea of things I must say, I think. But me, I'm more into understanding stuff. So I'm not here to tell you dates, battle and stuff. I'm more telling you about understanding, you know, in general sense, and not as deep as other, but that's not the point of my videos. That's pretty much it, actually. Rambling, right? But that's pretty much it, I will say. So yeah, really good books. Byzantine wise, the story is interesting enough that if you're just looking for Byzantines, you could like actually enjoy the history of it, and then go and then enjoy even more the parts about the Byzantine Empire, and then go back to history and understand how they conflict and whatever. And you can see like Manuel's the first influence a lot in Italy and stuff like that, and you really feel the sense that the Byzantine were really powerful, even though everybody says, oh yeah, they would decline it. Yeah, maybe, but they still were really powerful, and looks like so, and you understand that. So yeah, that's pretty much it, actually. So thank you for watching, really. Subscribe, like. If you want to talk about Byzantine history, if you want to recommend stuff, if you want to critique my work, if you want to blah, 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 write a comment. I don't have a lot of comments, so you know I will read it and respond. No worry about it. So thank you very much, and have a great day.